Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy.
Thank you for being here. It's good to see you, Justin. I knew you were out last week.
Oh, dude,
having
you don't
some
even
fun.
Fun?
Yeah.
You want to call that fun? A DDoS attack on my network? Yeah, that's not fun.
So how does somebody know they're getting that? Because a lot of people have no clue. They just, the internet's slowed down or whatnot.
I mean, that's kind of how we found
be different,
out.
Right?
Well, no, I mean, we that's pretty much how we found out. It was just like everything was, nobody could get to our website. Some of our, enterprises just were having really bad internet connectivity, but I was showing everything was up. But I also couldn't get to the website. So I literally just had to reach out to the provider. I reached out to the website provider because we don't host our own website. Somebody else hosts it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are under a DDoS attack." And I'm like, "Oh, great."
Whoa.
And then I reached out to our internet service provider, and they're like, "Yeah, you're under a DDoS attack." And I'm like, "Okay, so this is a multi-front one. Like they're really going after us. Like we must have really made somebody mad at Waterworld this year. I don't know."
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
But no, it went on for a couple days. I mean, it kind of like calmed down after a while. They put some, I don't know what you want to call it, just some things in place to kind of mitigate the damage. But yeah, no, it was not fun. Definitely not fun.
No.
But I'm here. We're good now.
I worked for, I still work for a company, not this one, but that had a full attack, but it was to the point where they got inside, they got into the systems, they were able to destroy it, basically ransom out. It was just awful. It took them almost 3 weeks to recover from that. And, I remember I was talking to somebody else and they said, well, what do you do to protect that? And I said, you just got to hope that nobody within the organization is click happy. No matter what, companies can sit there and try and give these courses and lessons. Don't click everything you get, because that's one thing can take down. I mean, seriously, am I right? One thing could take down an entire company.
You're right when you say that. However, a DDoS attack is different than just getting malware or a virus on inside your network. What you're kind of referencing there is, yes, somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, clicking on something, and they end up installing some sort of malware or virus, or even worse, something like a crypto bot or something that will,
Ransomware.
Ransomware. There we go.
Yeah.
Ransomware too. This was different because this wasn't from the inside. This was from the outside. And there's really no way to tell where it comes from because it is a DDoS. So DOS stands for denial of service. The other D in front of it, DDoS, means distributed denial of service. So it can really honestly come from anywhere. We don't know where it originates, but this is why people talk about these things like Shawn, you're into the Wise cams. I've got Real Link cameras. Andy, you might have a smart fridge, or your printer. These are all called the Internet of Things, IoT. Now, a lot of these devices, especially these cheap cameras like Wise and Real Link and other things like that, nobody patches these things. They have security flaws inherent in them, and also a lot of times people don't even change the credentials.
I do get firmware updates with Wise because we have Wise distributed, so that's been good. I mean,
that is good. Yes,
but they've had their problems in the past, which obviously,
and I'm not trying to poop on Wise here. I'm just saying, I'm just giving it as an example. There's plenty of other companies out there
Ring
that
has had their issues. Remember, people were looking at other people's cameras.
Yeah, Ring, but it especially is damaging to these really cheap internet connected devices that exploiters can take control over really easily. And you'll never know because your printer, your camera, your smart speaker could be a part of a bot network that is just doing these DDoS attacks. And so the only thing that might notice it is, oh, hey, my internet's a little bit slower than it normally is. I wonder why. It must be the ISP. They must be having problems. No, it's because you have a handful of devices on your network that are now attacking some random person out there on the web, and you have no idea.
So your device could be being used
Yes.
to attack somebody else.
Yes.
Oh,
Hackers
that's-
hackers definitely can get into these devices that are unsecured or at least just don't have the default credentials. A lot of people, these devices are like their logins are like admin or admin password or whatever. And people don't change that. They don't think they need to, but they really do. So if you have these devices that have just default credentials to log into them, it is very important that you do change those. And Andy, to your point, it's very important that you update your firmware because it patches these holes.
Yeah, some people they see a firmware notice or they hear of one and they say, I don't want to bother with it. I don't want to go through all of that.
Oh, I love it when I get a firmware notification.
You do?
I love it. I love it. I get a firmware notification. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what new features. Let's read the release notes. Let's find out what polls they patched. I love firmware updates. I'm always checking everything in my house. I'm checking what devices out there have firmware updates.
You ever, there's a couple of programs out there I know of that you can actually do a sweep of your home and find out devices that are on your network. Some people will do that and go, wait, what is this? They
what are some of those things that you're talking about? Like what software? Do you know?
There is a software and
Fing.
I'm trying to remember. What's that?
Fing. Fing will do it. Fing, F-I-N-G. It's a
really?
F-I-N-G. Yeah, it's an app that'll do network monitoring. You can check for devices. You can whitelist, blacklist. It'll notify you of new devices that have come on. It's an iOS app. There's a paid version for it. There's a free version. You can do basic ping tests with it, speed tests, those types of things.
Well, it's also a Windows app. It's not just iOS. But
sure. Yeah. I use it on iOS just because it helps me monitor a couple things on my phone. But
I wish I could
outside of that, I mean, most routers have a common tool that you can use to check for things like that too. But outside of that, I don't know of any other software that.
Well, a lot of routers, a lot of people out there, they just use the default router that was given to them by their ISP. They just feel like, okay, that's enough. It's good enough. The ISPs those routers are the worst. I mean, the ISP, they don't care. As long as it connects you to the internet and you got internet service and you're paying for it, they don't care about your security.
And a handful of people that I everybody knows I'm the guy that knows IT, so they always call me with their IT problems. And the number of people that I've had gone over to their house and they say, my Wi-Fi is garbage. Like, it's terrible upstairs. Yeah. And they don't realize that they took the router they were provided by their ISP, set it up, plugged it into their wireless router right next to it, and never disabled the Wi-Fi off the base router.
Oh.
So they're connecting to their router on the same
frequency
spectrum.
Or channel. Yep.
So they're just blasting each other, and they're maybe 15, 20 feet away. It's fine. But you get upstairs, you get 40, 50, 60 feet away, and the internet just starts to degrade terribly because they're just channel surfing all the same channels, trying to figure it out.
That is true, but there have been improvements in wireless connectivity in a lot of routers, and I'm not saying the ISPs do this because they're crap. But if you have anything that's actually somewhat from this century, they will monitor the channels that are in use and they will switch. If it determines that a particular Wi-Fi channel is overloaded or just being used by a lot of devices, it will try to find a channel that is not being used and it will switch to that channel. But if the device reboots, your router reboots or whatever, it's going to have to do this all over again from scratch.
Now, some people have wondered, with the network and people could connect to the network. What about Bluetooth? A lot of people have Bluetooth devices now in their homes. Can Bluetooth devices actually be dangerous?
Absolutely.
That if you have them open, I know that recently I did a test on a new product that I looked at, the cell to jack device, which is kind of cool. I'll talk about that later. But I noticed I had an XYO available, a Bluetooth device. Obviously, it would be an offshore company, based in China, because that's basically what it was representing. And then I had my neighbor, who I know her name, her Mac was available via Bluetooth. And I thought, should I go over there and say, hey, you might want to lock that down? Or, I mean, how safe how should we worry about Bluetooth connections?
For the most part, Bluetooth, it's a little bit more secure than just regular old just Wi-Fi, I guess, in a certain way. I know there's gonna be people out there to say, oh no, you're wrong, Justin. No, but like when you try to connect a Bluetooth device, a lot of times the receiving end of it will say, hey, so-and-so's trying to connect. Do you want to pair this device
Got it.
with this
Yeah.
random thing?
That's true.
So it'll at least try to give you a warning, but that's not to say that it's not without fault. I'll give you an example. And this is not necessarily Bluetooth. This is a little bit more with Wi-Fi, but the concept remains the same. We have, and I think I mentioned this on the show a year ago or so, but my company runs a fitness center, and there's a lot of televisions in the fitness center.
Oh yeah.
And these televisions are smart televisions.
Mm-hmm.
And people would actually bring their phones in, and somebody decided, hey, let's just see what happens if I try to cast my phone to one of these TVs.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And they were able to cast their phone to the TV. So what they did was any natural person would do is they just started to showing porn on TVs.
Oh my God. In the fitness center.
In a fitness center. So we obviously had to, disable. But I'm just saying is the point of the story, the moral of the story is it's not necessarily secure. I mean, you got to be careful with what you're doing. These devices and hackers, they're going to find the easiest, least path of resistance way of getting into your device. And they're not going to stop until they do. And that's why there are firmware updates. That's why there's software updates, because companies, it's Wack-A-Mole. You're going to patch 1 or 2 holes and another 2 or 3 are going to pop up.
I'm wondering though, when it comes to routers, because I know that we have people listening that may have been in that same situation, Justin, where they were using, the router provided by the cable company, and manufacturers that can vary. Is there a router manufacturer? I mean, we have the big names, Netgear, Linksys. Is there some that are better than others or that are highly regarded? I know that, Ubiquiti, we've heard about them. They seem to have, a pretty good stronghold when it comes to companies. But what about for the consumer? Like when they're looking for that type of device?
See, now here's the thing. I had an answer ready to go for you, but the moment you just said consumer, it went out the window.
Right.
Yes, I mean, obviously you can buy. I personally am running an ASUS router, and it's off the shelf. Okay, I mean I think it was $450. Plus I added an extra Wi-Fi extender upstairs that connects to this. So yeah, $500 for that thing. However, if you got a little bit of IT knowledge and a spare, small PC laying around that doesn't have to be really powerful, I would highly recommend pfSense. pfSense is an open, Paul Frank sense.org is the website. pfSense, amazing open source. Now, when you hear the word open source, you're like, oh, well, hold on. Open source means anybody can contribute. Anybody can make it. Yeah, that's true. However, it goes through a whole peer review before it ever gets approved. And there are a lot of people out there that know a lot more than I do. And they're going to review every type of, every piece of code that gets introduced. And they're going to say, okay, yeah, this is good. Or no, this is not good. We're not going to allow this to go through.
That's happened. Yeah.
pfSense is a great way to run an open source, doesn't cost you a dime, and it only costs you hardware. And if you got an old PC laying around, throw Linux on it and throw pfSense on it. And now you've got your own home router. And it's great, but it does require a little bit of IT knowledge.
John, do you have like a preference when it comes to routers and that type of thing?
I've always been privy to Netgear. It seems to just over the years, Netgear's kind of been always the one I've landed on, whether it was provided for me at my apartment or one that I bought. I'm running a Nighthawk here, which is their kind of their top of the line for consumer, before you start getting into enterprise level stuff from Netgear. And we use Netgear grade switches, professional, layer 3 switches at work at the university for certain things. So Netgear's kind of been the router of choice for me. And I would have said pfSense if Justin hadn't said it first. It's just, I don't know much about it. I know it exists. It's something that I've thought about playing around with. But outside of the generic security rules in place in my Windows Defender, like I'm not running much more security than that.
Now, if you were to talk to Matt, now I know Matt's not here tonight. Actually, Matt just was traveling back from Washington, D.C. He went out there for the Washington Commanders versus the Raiders game. He was a big Raiders fan. And I was like, why would you do that to yourself? First off, why would you travel halfway across the country just to see the Raiders lose? I'm sorry. I'm a Raiders.
Rub it in. Wow.
I'm a Raiders hater, and he's not here to defend himself. But anyway, if Matt was here tonight, he would tell you that he likes Ubiquity, UniFi. Yeah. He's a big UniFi guy. So that's another great one. But to Shawn's point, UniFi can be just dabbling your toes into the enterprise side of things.
I remember when my wife started a billing business. She did medical billing from home back around 2009. We used SonicWall, and they were always pushing. They were always pushing updates. It was good. Never had an issue with them until the router just died. One day, I don't know what happened.
I've heard mixed reactions about SonicWall. I've heard that SonicWall, for what you get, I mean, they do protect you, but they also constantly are trying to push you to pay more money for this subscription, or, add on this feature for an extra $5 a month or whatever. And so I don't like that model of business.
All right. So when it comes to that, I use Netgear modem, Linksys routers. I've been using Linksys for a long time, and I've upgraded.
I hope you changed your password.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah. Okay, always. That's kind of a common thing, but yeah, that's the problem is some of them are a little looser than others when it comes to the security that's on there. And again, another reason, run the firmware updates. Now I'm wondering, what about firmware updates on motherboards?
BIOS updates?
Yeah, BIOS updates and doing those. Some people don't ever do those.
I do them all the time. Because I look at it this way. We've got so many computers, and Shawn, you can probably speak to this at Notre Dame, but at Highland Hills, I mean, we got so many Dell computers, and they're all running Windows, right? And Windows updates things, every Tuesday. They got Patch Tuesday, right? Sometimes it's benign, sometimes it's a big patch. But what happens is when Windows updates things faster than the manufacturer of the hardware can keep up with, then they have to issue like a BIOS update. And I've noticed so many times where a brand new Windows 11 Pro PC, top of the line Dell Precision, just stops working and it's running slow. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's brand new. And then I go out and I find, oh, there's a BIOS update. And I run the BIOS update and bam, everything's working great again.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago.
Who, me?
And you did. You meant Justin. Yeah, Justin, okay. You mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago. We were having a problem with a PC at work. It's a Lenovo ThinkCenter running dual Threadrippers. We're using it for video transcoding. And it's ridiculous. Windows 11 server. It's this big beefy machine. And it just kept struggling. We kept updating Windows, kept breaking things. We put Driver Easy on it.
Oh, Driver Easy.
Yeah. It found all these drivers that weren't updated.
I don't get it.
I just don't get it. Why doesn't
Windows show you this stuff?
I don't know. So it found like 15 or 16 drivers that were like, I'm out of date, and we installed them, rebooted, and it's been fine. Like,
did you do that Driver Easy because you were like, hey, Justin talked about this?
Yeah, well, it's like every time it would do a Windows update, because we update, we have a guy on our team that his whole job is security and Windows and stuff like that.
And he didn't know about Driver Easy.
I just told him, I was like, look, it's probably a driver. Let's get an enterprise license for Driver Easy. Let's put it on there. Let's see what happens. The worst thing we can do is update the drivers, right? And we updated the drivers. And it must have found one that was stuck or hadn't been updated.
Probably a
or something.
chipset driver.
And it's been running great since.
Now, what's the cost of Driver Easy for somebody to use?
It's not
I mean, for an enterprise level, I don't know because I'm not paying for that. But I have I could put it on 3 PCs of my own, and I think I paid like $60 for the year.
Yeah, $50-$60 a year.
So it's been great, and it's helped me. It helped my machine. It's helped me on another machine that I have at home that I was struggling with after a Windows update where things were just dog slow, and I was just like, why is this so slow? Driver Easy. I don't know. Justin mentioned it on the show. I bought it that night, ran it on my PC.
While we were doing the show, you were online buying it.
Yeah, and then remember he disconnected because it updated his driver and it made him reboot like halfway through the show.
Yes.
Yeah. No. But no, there also is a different version of Driver Easy. It's I think it's called like the PC Help Desk Technician license. Basically, what it does is you get 50 licenses for Driver Easy, but each license is only active for 3 days. So this is it allows a PC technician to install Driver Easy on a customer's computer, run the updates once, get it all updated, and be like, hey, look, your computer's working great. I would recommend getting a subscription to this software that I just installed on your PC. So that's what we do. We have, we don't need, I mean, we've got, oh gosh, I want to say probably close to 250 PCs in our organization. I can't afford to run Driver Easy constantly on those PCs. So I buy 50 licenses a year, and I don't remember how much that is. Maybe $300, $400, $500 maybe.
Right.
But it allows me anytime I need it, I can just put the license key in. It'll activate, take one of my licenses away, and it gives me 3 days to update all the drivers on that particular PC, and then it deactivates itself.
Nice. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And I haven't used it yet. I've got a machine that's being a little testy. It won't let me look at my system hardware, the type of board and everything else. I'm thinking, man, maybe it just needs a driver fix. And
Driver Easy also does BIOS too.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering, because some manufacturers of boards, whether it be ASUS, Gigabit, whatever, Gigabyte, they don't put out they don't always release the drivers or make it easy for them to find.
That's
right?
what I love about Driver Easy is it somehow it has this magical database of every single component in the world, and it knows exactly where to go to find the drivers.
Because it scans your hardware when you start it, right? It's like, oh, you're running this ASUS ROG whatever, and then it goes, okay, here's the 50 drivers for your motherboard chipset, well, I almost said Northbridge, Southbridge, but that's all contained on the GPU now, the CPU. But it finds all these drivers, and it's like, you've got 17 drivers out of date out of 50. It's like, didn't even know that.
And it even actually finds devices that aren't currently connected to your computer. It'll find printers. Mm-hmm. It'll say, hey, this printer is installed on your computer, but it's not active right now. Like it might be turned off. But hey, here's a new driver for it. Next time it turns itself on and your computer connects, we'll have the updated driver installed.
Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing. And where does somebody find this one?
drivereasy.com.
All right.
Yep. And right now, if you go, I just went to the website, $29.95 for the year for 3 PCs if you buy it.
Oh my gosh.
That's the deal. That's the deal I have on the webpage right now. So
for 3 PCs, 29? That's pretty good.
For a whole year. That's amazing.
When it comes, so when it comes to tools that you want to have on your computer, obviously Driver Easy is going to be one of them. What would
number one
on the list? What would be another one that you would
Malwarebytes.
Yeah.
VLC, media player.
ShareX, which is what I use for screenshots and cropping and things like that.
ShareX? Is that better than the Windows snipping?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Leaps and bounds better.
Wait, ShareX.
So how do you run it then? What makes it
better?
Oh,
you just click on it, and then it gives you, it's if you're familiar with the Mac UI, you can set up hotkeys. So like on a Mac, if you do Command-Shift-3, it's going to give you the full screen. Command-Shift-4 will give you a region clipping tool. You can set up hotkeys.
Can you bind it to print screen? So I just have to hit print screen and it'll do it? Because I have a problem. My new computer, I don't like the way, I don't know if it's a Windows update or if it's something with my hardware, but I used to be where I would hit print screen, it would open up Windows snipping tool and allow me to select what I wanted. And then once I would take a screenshot, it would show up in the lower right corner and say, here's your most recent screenshot. And, I'd click on it and then I could edit it. But now it won't do that. It just sends it straight to the gallery. It won't even let me, I have to open up another folder, go find the image that I just took. Like, it's so annoying.
So at one point, when you did a screenshot, you clicked on the notification menu and said, don't show me any more notifications from this. And that's the only way. I know it's a desktop notification. So if you have desktop notifications silenced or turned off or not to be shown, that's where it shows up. It's a snipping tool. The Windows snipping tool, if you do Windows Shift S to do the snipping tool, if you have the notifications turned off for it, it will not show it to you, and it'll just dump it to the screenshots folder.
Okay, so how do I change that? If that happens, how do I get those notifications back?
I don't know. Let's do Windows Shift S. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it, but yeah, I can't even
probably
get
in the there's probably a section in the control panel or where you could actually go into your system
notifications and
change that.
actions. If I just hit Windows and type in notifications and actions,
Right.
okay, yeah, that looks like I have to just go. Yep, I see. I can go here and yeah, Windows snipping. This particular computer I'm on right now, it's turned on, but I bet you my other computer is probably turned off.
It probably is. Yeah,
There we go.
because I use that all the time for snipping stuff too. Like if I'm on a PC, if I don't have like a work PC, I can't install stuff. So it's like
Right.
Windows Shift S, drag a box, it goes to the screenshots folder. I use it all the time for updating my technical books and stuff with information. So,
All right,
That's
cool.
awesome.
We got to
Thanks
take
for
a
that
break.
tip.
We got to take a break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. And remember, Andy's password to his Linux or his Linksys is password 1234. We'll be right
5,
back.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Radio. Okay, I've got we got a listener question in for you guys. Actually, this is really focused at Justin and Shawn. It says, "Hey guys, love the show. I listen as much as I can. I find the humor in your show exhilarating, and the knowledge is beyond me. I just think it's amazing." But
Wait,
now,
who, us?
yeah,
What?
that's what they were saying about
Are
you.
we sure this is the right show?
And it says, it goes on to say, "So recently I listened to your show and decided that I needed to upgrade my computer to a Windows 11 system. However, I'm in a quandary. Do I go Windows 11 Home or Windows 11 Pro? How can I determine which would be the best?" Andy in Green Valley.
Well, that's actually a really, really simple question.
That's actually me asking you the question.
Oh, that's you. That's you. That's you. Okay. Well, I mean, are you in an enterprise situation? Do you need to be on
No.
a domain?
No.
Like an actual domain login credentials, or if this is just a simple home computer, there's your answer.
It's a
Pro is
simple home
for
computer.
companies.
Pro is for companies. All right.
Yeah, if you're just running this on a home computer, just get Windows 11 Home. There's no reason to go Pro.
All right. Shawn, what do you think?
So I ran into this a little bit. I upgraded, so I got a couple of surplus computers from work that I was able to put Windows 11 on, bought Windows 11 Home.
Okay.
I like to have my computers headless, meaning no monitors attached to them if I'm doing something for fun, like a server or a project, right? So went from Windows 10, set it all up, it was running Windows 10, built it all. I was like, I want to run Windows 11. So I upgraded it to Windows 11 Home. There is one glaring feature that does not exist in Windows 11 Home.
What is that?
Remote desktop.
Oh, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
You do not get remote desktop with Windows 11 Home.
You can't even install it as part of the administrative tools.
You might be able to, but I was so peeved. I just paid for a Windows 11 Pro license because I was so mad because I was trying. I had to go get a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse, walk my happy butt over to the computer across the room. Yeah, it's just across the room, but plug it in.
This is
get it
such first world problems.
Right, but I have it set up with, I use Rust Desk, right? So remote desktoping into some things, but I was using remote desktop at the time, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, why isn't it working? Couldn't figure it out. Did a little bit of Google Food, figured out, yep, sorry, it was free with Windows 10, but with Windows 11 Home, it just doesn't exist.
The reason I asked that, and that's good. That's something to consider too. So I based on last week's show, Justin, and now you were out, we were talking about Ed Bott's article on ZDNet talking about making that upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11. And, everybody's talking about it. Most people are saying you could do this, and they're pushing you towards the OneDrive, letting it assume a OneDrive on your system, and then, they'll let you do it for a year, or paying. One figure was $30, and Shawn went over the business figures, which is a bit higher, almost double that. So I thought, you know what? He's been talking about Rufus. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. The processor was one generation below what I needed. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this Rufus a try. So put Rufus onto a flash drive. I cannot believe how easy it was. Downloaded Windows 11 Home, because what I had on here was Windows 10 Home, and installed it, and it installed. Now I did I did the full erase. There was nothing on the system I really needed to keep. So I went ahead and let it rebooted, reformatted the drives, did all of that. I had to do a couple of steps with that. Once I got it running and everything, I was like, wow, it actually is running. It evaded the TPM 2.0, didn't mind the processor not being, and you have to select a couple of settings in there to make it happen. I do understand there is an install in place that you can do with Rufus, which I may try again, because the reason is, so once I got the Windows 11 Home installed, I had activation issues. And it was because I didn't have a license. I didn't pay for it. I was trying to do the upgrade. Couldn't do it. After logging into Microsoft's website and going through just a whole bunch of stuff, finally I got the activation, and it's fine. But in the meantime, I was a little frustrated, and I thought, well, why don't I try Windows 11 Pro and just go that route? So I bought a license, a Groupon license, and I went ahead and I have a Windows 11 Pro license that I got for like $12. And I'm just thinking, oh, should I go ahead and just blow it out and put Pro on? Or really, at this point, it doesn't matter. It's working. It's installed.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Shawn,
Depends
what do
on
you
how
think?
much you want to fight it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can get relatively inexpensive keys out there now.
Yeah.
I won't tell you where to get them, but you can Google it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I bought mine legally from Groupon. Like again, $13 for Windows 11 Pro, and I came with a license, the whole bit. I just haven't installed it.
Well, I mean, can't you? I think you can just upgrade to Windows 11 because Windows 11 Home and Windows 11 Pro literally are the same code. It's just
Right.
Windows 11 Pro on it.
It's BitLocker.
Yeah, BitLocker, but it basically has all the features already built in. It's just they're disabled because you don't have the license to use it. So by just simply entering the key for Windows 11 Pro, it should just simply unlock the rest of those features.
Right. Then I wouldn't have to do the whole rigmarole again.
Yeah,
with
you shouldn't
Group-
have
No,
to
you shouldn't
reinstall
have
everything.
to, right? So when I did mine, right, I went from 10 to 11 home, and then just did there's an upgrade path you can just do to Windows 11 Pro. So
Right. Well, if anybody's going to do this, they should definitely do the upgrade in place, right? I mean, but you like to reinstall everything, Shawn. You've talked about this before.
call me crazy, but probably once every year or just a little bit more, I wipe my machine. I
Right.
just get it fresh. Like everybody says, "Oh my gosh, why do you
Yeah,
do
you're
that?" It's so
crazy.
crazy. It's like once a year probably, if not maybe a little bit longer than that. But
I would love to have that kind of spare time.
I just
Well,
do
then
it. I just back everything up, save things that I want, and it helps me get rid of junk that I don't want, programs I don't need. I'll archive stuff,
Yeah, I
games,
can't. I have
install
one
files.
I have one machine, Shawn, I can't do that with because I have my Adobe CS5 suite, which you cannot get re-authenticated. I'm afraid if I delete it and try to install Windows 11 and the program on the same machine, I'm going to be out of luck. And I want to
Probably.
have at least one version, at least have Adobe Audition on there. And it's that's kind of a drag on that part. I've tried using, PC, what is it? Not PC Anywhere, PC Mover. Tried using
Yeah.
Z install, I think is what it is. That one.
Well, you
Pretty
also did Acronis, right? With True Image. I mean, that takes a whole
Yep. That might
backup, right?
That might work, but here's part of the problem too. The boot sector on the Windows 10 machine is different. It's not a GPT boot sector, it's MBR. So I think I run into problems with that. So I've tried just popping the drive.
You definitely will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with one of our switcher computers at work, I tried to update to Windows 11, and because it was the whole MBR GPT or whatever, it bricked the BIOS. When I turned on Secure Boot on the motherboard, it saw that there was an MBR drive in there, and it went, can't do it.
Yeah.
And then I had to buy the clip and reflash the firmware, and it was kind of scary because I thought it was going to be dead. We'd have to buy a new one, which is not cheap in my business. And thankfully, the the new firmware flashed in just fine, and we're back up and running. But
Yeah.
the whole secure boot thing is Windows 11 secure boot TPM 2.0. Really, it's kind of a thorn in the side for the consumers because it just starts to hiccup these little things that cause frustration. And when consumers get frustrated, they just out the window
Forget
and
it.
spend
Yeah.
money on a new one.
Yep.
Right.
So some of these are by design. Some of them are just frustrating. But if you're a little bit tech savvy, you can get around some of these. But the average consumer is just going to get so furious that they're probably just going to say, "Wow, I just got to go buy a new one because this piece of crud's obsolete."
Justin was mentioning something earlier, Justin, when we were just starting the show, that, you don't go down into, your area very much anymore, which is a desktop computer, great
Yeah.
screen. You're on the laptop a lot. I have been listening to people saying that they're ditching their desktops with this move to Windows 11 and just getting a Windows 11 desktop and just going that way, just ditching the desktop. Maybe
you mean getting a Windows 11 laptop.
getting a laptop, but ditching the Windows 10 desktop, or even, just getting rid of that. And that's actually not a bad idea, really, for many people, because they're finding they're able to do most of the stuff that they need on a laptop now, sometimes, twice the power of that previous desktop they had.
Well, I mean, as you get better battery life, I mean, that's what it's always come down to, right? Is like everybody wanted to be portable. So when you had these honking Intel Pentium 4 machines with 25 minutes of battery life, it was not a benefit, right? So now what people need and the performance increase and the power increases, especially with the newer Intel generations and the AMD, where the AMD stuff is coming. And then on the Mac side with the M chips and the M4 Pro, like you're getting all this processing power out there that can run all these apps, the same apps you were beholden to a desktop for. Now you can edit on an iPad, you can edit on your MacBook, you can edit on a laptop with DaVinci Resolve, and it's with good battery life, right? So being portable in a lot of high performance settings is appealing to a lot of people. And I think that Windows 11 has optimized it for battery life, and you're seeing a lot more long-term solutions for productivity at a higher performance level.
Well, it's not even just Windows 11 doing that. I mean, it's also the advancements in processing
for sure.
and the GPU.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Send us an X at Tech Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
Andy and I talked a little bit last week about whether or not DJI had anything new from drones. Right?
Yeah,
we literally said it's been kind of quiet. Well, in the last week, they announced their new DJI Mini 5 Pro. So they have it's the newest of their fleet. It's the DJI Mini 5 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro.
Huh.
Nice.
So, again, DJI still in the business, right? We know that there was all this legislation, which still is kind of up in the air with everything else that's going on. And so the the Mini 5 Pro is, this is the weight it has listed on their website. 249.9 grams plus or minus 4 grams, meaning you may or may not be over the weight limit if you put an SD card in it or not.
Oh, no, you're kidding me.
So the regulatory stuff in the U.S. is 250 grams or less. You don't have to register it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Above 250 grams, you do. So that's 0.55 pounds, right? So this is their way of skirting, very, very slightly skirting the rules. Like, here it is, empty. It's like if you get a car that weighs 200 pounds and you fill it with gas, then you're over the limit, kind of a thing, right? It's like if you put an SD card in it, you may or may not be over the weight limit.
Oh my God.
1-inch CMOS sensor, which can pull 50 megapixel stills, 4K 120, 10-bit D-Log, which is color for cinema people. It's the color grading, and 14 stops at dynamic range. your typical 3-axis gimbal stuff. It looks pretty cool.
Right.
The Mavic 4 is running the new. We talked about this last time because they announced it. They announced a different version of the Mavic with their new triple camera Hasselblad. So they're running the same triple camera setup. So it's got the 100 megapixel wide, medium, and a telephoto, and it's got the infinity gimbal, which allows for 360-degree rotation. So you can get 360 degrees of view, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Mavic 4 Pro supports 6K 60, which is the first of its kind in any drone that I've seen, and it'll do HDR. This says 51 minutes of flight time. I believe that when I see it. It's faster, but DJI is pushing higher resolution on the pros, but offering flexibility and size on like the minis, right? So it's like you get flexibility with the minis, but if the pro versions, you get ultra good features, 6K, that kind of stuff. The Mini 5 Pro base, and again, it's really only available in one place in the US, and it's on Amazon. You can buy them in the UK, but in the US, it's going to be very difficult to get these because of the rules and the tariffs and the regulations and stuff happening right now. But in the UK, you can get them for £689
That's a lot of money
for the base, and it goes all the way up to with the Fly More combo with the extra controller for somebody to fly and somebody to control the camera. You're looking at about €1,200, £1,200.
Yeah.
And the Mavic 4 Pro with the Fly More combo, which is like everything bundled. You get the controller, you get all the fancy stuff. You're looking at almost $4,000.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's you got to think about it, right? That's including it's coming from China. You're paying a bunch of tariffs. If it's available, the demand is really high, so you're going to see these really ridiculous prices as people try and get them into the country. So.
Right. Wow.
Yes, I just 4,000.
Can't see spending that.
Nope.
One thing I want to spend some money on is Real-Link cameras. You talked about them. I think Matt talked about them, and you talked about them, Justin. That you wanted to get them because the quality on them looks so good, and you were able to experience something the other night though that is absolutely crazy. But the first thing out of my mouth was, "What camera do you have?" Because my Nest does not look that good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I replaced all of our cameras with Real-Link, and we, as you mentioned, Matt and I both did that, but we did not coordinate this upgrade. We kind of just did this on our own. But yeah, so I'm using Real-Link. I got rid of all the Wise cams, and I got rid of the Nest doorbell cam, and I went Real-Link. So yeah, I put a Real-Link doorbell cam on my front there, and last night I was just sitting around watching TV with my son. It was around 8 p.m. and we had the front door open with the screen door, and I hear a loud bang. It kind of sounded like almost like a gunshot going off. And I was like, well, what is that? And I walked out, and I see across the street, I see our neighbor, who is he's basically kind of like a car broker. He'll buy these high-end exotic vehicles, not necessarily like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and things, but think of like Shelby Cobra Mustangs or Acura NSXs or a Nissan GTR. But so last night there was he had just gotten this Nissan GTR, and we're talking a $100,000 to $120,000 car easily.
Wow.
And these cars are extremely fast. And
It's
it was a
Fast
beautiful
and Furious type cars.
Yeah,
Is that the deal?
in the original Fast and Furious, the car that he was racing, the one that's like silver and blue stripes, that was a GTR. But this is obviously a much more newer model of GTR. But anyway, it was getting loaded onto a car hauler. So he had hired a company to come out and take this car to the next buyer. So he found a buyer, and it was loading up the car. Well, the person that was loading the car, and I didn't know this until I reviewed the actual footage. But as they were loading the car onto the car hauler, they left the driver's side door open while the car was running. And that's a key point here. The car was running.
All right.
They left the driver's side door open while he went to go retrieve, I don't know, cables or something, chain locks or whatever. Somebody driving by on that same street, they hit the driver's side door of this GTR, which obviously slammed the door shut, broke the window of the driver's side door because of the force. But because the car was running, the car registered it as an accident and it fired off the airbags.
Oh,
which completely totals the car.
Really?
When an airbag goes off in a car, yes, they can be replaced, but the value of the car diminishes significantly because it'll always show on a Carfax report that the airbags have deployed. So nobody's going to want to buy a car that had previously had airbags deployed.
And in a car like that, right, you've got side impact airbags, you've got side curtain airbags, you've got...
and that's what fired off. It was the side impact airbags and the side curtain airbags.
So all these airbags went off, which is going to be tens of thousands of dollars to replace.
Yeah.
Even if it's worth replacing.
So you view the footage. What I mean.
So I didn't know what was going on when I walked out there with my son to kind of look at it. When I was standing on our front porch, there was the car hauler. Was I believe of Eastern European descent, and he was on the phone and he was just screaming in a different language. Into the phone, apparently maybe to his boss or somebody, was just really, really upset at the whole thing. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go approach an angry Russian. So I'm just going to go back inside now. But this morning I reviewed the footage and I had texted the owner. He wasn't even home. He was out camping. And I texted him like, hey, is that your car out front there? And he's like, yeah, the green one. What's up? And I'm like, uh-oh. And he's like, what happened? And I told him, I said, well, the airbags deployed and somebody hit the car. And he's like, what? And then I sent him the video. And because of the video that I was able to capture with the real link, it proved that the company that was hauling the vehicle was at least partially to blame because he left the door open on an active city street while he was trying to load it. He should have shut the door. But obviously the person that hit the car should have stopped. They didn't. They kept on going. And unfortunately, I was not able to capture a license plate, but I do have a feeling that it was somebody that lives in the neighborhood. And now pretty much the whole neighborhood is on the lookout for this particular vehicle with the description that we gave in the video. So,
wow.
Hopefully that person will be found and held accountable too.
There are people that will say, oh, I don't need a camera, or my neighbor's got one. I tell people, why not have that extra piece of security? And they're not that hard to install, right?
The doorbell one is a wired one. So it uses the wire, uses the electricity from the transformer that was provided to us, when the house was built. So I just had to wire in that the two wires. It powers the camera. Yeah, it took me 20 minutes to put the doorbell camera on. So yeah, no, they're not hard to install.
Okay, so for our viewers on the web, is it okay if we show the video?
Oh yeah, sure, we can do that.
All right. This is the video that was captured outside of Justin's house. Pretty amazing stuff. We're all going to cringe together. Shawn, you have Wise around the perimeter of the house, right?
Yeah. I use Wise primary. I mean, would I get more Wise? Maybe not. I mean, I really don't need any newer other cameras. I really haven't done any.
How many do you have total? Inside and out.
Running or total?
Well, let's say running.
1, 2. So doorbell, front yard, garage, inside my garage, back living room, backyard, back slider.
Wow. I thought I had a lot.
A pan and tilt upstairs in the window looking out over the neighbor's yard.
Right.
Well, looking outside that side of the house, right? It's like whatever. It's not looking over the neighbor's yard.
Okay, yeah.
So that's 7, I think.
7, okay.
Plus the two outdoor ones that I can take with me when we travel,
Sure.
which are great. I have a version 1 and a version 2. The version 2 is significantly better than the version 1. But then I have a ton of the Wise light bulbs. right? So
Right.
all the light bulbs I have in here that are blue are all white. Like in my downstairs are all wise bulbs, which I can change. 2 in my living room. 2 on my porch. 2 of the bulbs. So I've probably got about 24 light bulbs total.
Now,
Wow.
I do hope that, going back to my very first point in this show, you did change the default password to those bulbs and those cameras and things, right? You have secured your network, correct?
Yeah.
I have. They are all of my Wise devices are on their own VLAN.
Oh,
Well, that'll
cool.
help a little
So
bit.
if you really want to get into my Wise stuff, I mean, you either got to be a cloud hacker or you need to have physical access to my VLAN and get in that way. You're not getting on through my guest network.
Right.
But yes, I have changed all the default stuff.
Good.
And
So if anybody shows up at your house dressed as a cable repairman and wants to check your system, you wouldn't let them in?
absolutely not. Any service technician that comes in and touches the network or the internet, I'm over their shoulders the whole time. I'm
Wait, so
probably
you would not-
I'm that
you
guy.
you would not let Jim Carrey in your house dressed as the cable guy?
Well, maybe Jim
Cable
Carrey,
guy.
maybe the cable guy. But no, I mean, I'm not. I get a little nervous around. Most of them are just here to do their job, right? They're not going to do anything nefarious.
Yeah.
But all it takes is one guy to
Mhm.
plug in a laptop into your network while he's plugging in your router and stuff and snoop some stuff and
Or USB. Yep. that can
yeah.
happen.
So I mean, I'm a little paranoid about that. So
All right.
I haven't
gotta
had
keep it-
anybody over, but
Yeah, you never know. All right, you got to take another quick break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin. Let me find us on the net at techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back. So a couple days ago, I was looking at trying to figure out. I use Radar Omega to try to gather up the current weather conditions around our area, and Radar Omega does say that it does show lightning, but I could never get it to work properly, and I don't know what it is about it, but it doesn't work properly. So I was like, you know what? There's got to be something better out there. And I looked it up, and sure enough, there's a website. And Andy mentioned that we did talk about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot about it, but it's called lightningmaps.org.
It's a great website.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. It's open source. It's free to use, but it also is community driven. So it shows you kind of like real time where lightning is happening around the nation. And
Mhm.
it's again, it's all community driven. So there's a lot of people that have like, I don't know, lightning sensors, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, it's actually really cool. And I love their satellite imagery. It's so much better than Google Maps, I feel like. I don't know what they use.
Mhm.
I hope it's not Bing Maps, but no, it's
OpenStreetMap.
OpenStreetMap. Yeah. It's just so much smoother, it seems, than like Google Maps. But yeah, this is a really cool website. It's again, lightningmaps.org.
This would have been really nice to have this past weekend because we had a
Oh.
lightning delay during our football game. So we have to track for sports for us. We have to track within a 10-mile radius, right? If lightning strikes within 10 miles, we have to
Yep.
have people out of open areas, right?
Mhm.
So they were tracking it, and it kept getting closer and closer and closer. Right before halftime, we got delayed by an hour and 45 minutes or something. So but it was all because of lightning. So
Yeah, it's kind of cool because then you have say you see the lightning in the distance, but you want to know how far is it away. By going to lightning maps, you could actually see, oh, it's 60 miles away, but
Sure.
it's quite the show.
you
So
don't listen and then count. Wait, how long? Okay.
Yeah, I can never figure that
one,
out.
one Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yep.
Okay, it's 2.5 miles away. Well, how'd
I
you
mean,
know that?
I
Well,
saw
just count it.
Poltergeist, but I don't remember the count on that and what it was supposed to be. I was speaking of entertainment. I just wanted to, I don't know if you heard the news, Justin. You were a fan of Cyberpunk. You played it, right?
Yeah, off and on. Yep.
Keanu Reeves was in it,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
He will be back, apparently. I guess Johnny Silverhand. They're saying that he absolutely wants to be in Cyberpunk 2.
Ooh.
So I don't know. There were a lot of problems with the game when it first launched, but they fixed a lot of them, right?
They did. This is another classic story of a video game that was under development or in development, and it was under pressure from the publisher to release the game, regardless if it was finished or not. I guess the number one Example of that would be No Man's Sky, which was absolutely horrible upon release. But the company that developed it said, no, we are not giving up on this, even though the publisher made us do it. We're going to come out, and they made it so much better. And it's actually one of the best games of all time. That I'm talking about No Man's Sky. So yes,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077, again, same kind of thing, released way too early, way too many bugs, but the developer said, we will fix this, we will make it better. And they have made it much, much better.
All right, that's it for this week's Tech Talk Radio. So great info. If you have a question, drop us a line, techguys@techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy again. Find us on the web, techtalkradio.com. Have yourselves a great week. We'll see you.